You're recording guitar at home. You bought the guitar, the interface, and you've watched so many conflicting YouTube tutorials that you're one video away from taking up knitting. Because no matter how hard you try, your mixes still sound like this. And what is that? That's the sound of fried assholes. Now, let's be clear, the issue isn't your guitar, and it's not your computer. And despite what the forum know-it-alls endlessly drone on about, it's not even your converters. It's you and your lack of knowledge, because you can get results like this. If you're willing to stop thinking like a guitar player and start thinking like an engineer. Mistake number 1, paying for amp sims. Let's be real here, you don't need to blow a wad of cash on amp sims anymore. You don't even need hardware amp sims. That ship has sailed. Neural Amp Modeler has flipped the entire industry on its head. And now with NAMM Universal, it's gone from cool open source experiment to refined awesomeness. Everything you need is right at your fingertips. No subscription bundles, no $400 pro versions, no surprise paywalls. Just tone for free. And I'm not talking about some half-baked freeware hack. NAMM holds its own against Kemper, Axe-Fx, and even Quad Cortex. And in some blind tests, it even wins. Just listen to this. That guitar sound, that's the sound of my Morningwood. That's my personal amp that I made with the Neural Amp Modeler. And I'm gonna show you how to get your hands on my Morningwood later on in this video. But seriously, if you're still out there paying for your amp sims without even trying NAMM first, what the hell are you even doing? Google it, download a few captures, blow your mind for $0. And for all the bass players in the room, try to keep up. It's called Neural Amp Modeler, not Neural DSP. Those are two different things, like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. One of them nailed the ending. The other one just said, "Look, boobies." Different tech, same confused dumbasses. Number 2, you forgot stereo mode. You are one of the smart ones. You've already figured out that there's a wealth of amp sims out there for the taking. Not on the pirate sites, you fucking degenerate. I'm talking about amp captures made with the Neural Amp Modeler. Amp captures so good that they're gonna rival anything you can pay for. And since you're really on top of things, you're already using NAMM Universal. Except your mix still sounds like this. That's because even though you quad-tracked your guitars like a champ, you forgot one tiny little detail. Stereo mode. Flip this switch here, now listen. See? Night and day. It's stupidly easy to miss, and don't feel bad if you did, because it happens to lots of guys. I once got to see an early edit of a big budget music video where the band proudly sent it over like, "Hey dude, check out our new video." And I'm like, "Great, but it's in mono." No, it's not. Yes, it's in mono. The director said it's not in mono. And the denial continues for a week until they finally ask their rock star friend to weigh in, and he's like, "Yeah, it's in mono, you fucking idiots." The same principle applies to your recordings. Make sure you're in the correct mode before sending me your mix and asking why it sounds like it was recorded in 1951. And look, if this kind of simple but critical stuff is slipping through the cracks for you, you're not alone. And that's exactly why I built the Home Studio Cheat Code. It's 69% off for Black Friday, and you get my IR library, my NAMM captures, and 4 live coaching calls where I help you fix this exact kind of bullshit before it ruins your mix. If you want to stop making rookie mistakes and start getting real results, grab it while the deal's still up. Number 3, no impulse response. I honestly don't know how this keeps happening, and yet here we are. NAMM Universal literally has the impulse responser built in, right here on the freaking screen, right in front of your face. And somehow I still get mix submissions on my show that are missing them, which leads to mixes that sound like this. And what the hell is that? That sounds like you DI'd your guitar straight into an electrical panel. This is not difficult, people! Grab the free plugin, the impulse responser is right there at the bottom. It's not in a hidden sub-menu, not behind a paywall. It is staring you right in the face like, "Hey dumbass, maybe try using this part." This is a mental leap this fucking big! Load the impulse! It is a digital snapshot of a real speaker cabinet. You can have hundreds of them without needing to lease a warehouse or kick your roommate out. Load the file. That's all there is to it. Now listen to this. Huge difference, night and day. It's almost like, stay with me here, the speaker is the most important part of the recorded guitar tone. Number 4, hold the guitar properly. Okay, I am absolutely guilty of this one. I was hanging out at 42 Gear Street last summer, just minding my own business, playing guitar like a complete dumbass, when Mendel, my good friend, formerly from the band Aborted, walks up and gives me a very polite version of, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Make sure when you're recording your guitar and sitting with it, that the guitar is in the proper vertical plane. Because the way I was sitting, the guitar slid down my leg, angled at something like this. It basically turned the instrument into a medieval torture device. Let me show you what I mean. Your fretting hand has to reach farther, you have to stretch more, and suddenly every note feels like you're trying to play a solo during an arm wrestling match. So whatever you have to do, get the guitar positioned correctly. Put a strap on. Hell, put skateboard tape along the bottom here so it stops sliding down your leg like a greased pig. Just make sure that the guitar is parallel with your body. Because if it isn't, you're gonna have a hell of a time getting anything useful out of it, and you'll only have yourself to blame when your takes sound like you're losing a fight with your guitar. Here's that same riff in a proper position. Number 5, the curse of Floyd Rose. In my 27 years of recording bands, nothing grinds a session to a halt faster than the Floyd Rose tremolo. Because no matter what the bands promise, it is never, ever set up correctly. Oh sure, you've got lightning fingers, you brought brand new strings and you think you're prepared, but then you decide to change the string gauge at the last minute, and guess what? Well, I hope you didn't have any plans, because now we're spending the next hour or two in the studio trying to rebalance your Floyd. And this is why I insist on getting paid by the hour. Now, it's not even the worst part. If you strum a Floyd too hard, yeah, your guitar goes out of tune for just a couple of seconds. Now, try telling a guitar player to back off with their picking hand. That's a whole separate training arc that takes forever to teach. And all of this wasted time, all of this tuning drama could have been avoided if you just used a guitar with a Kahler. Same functionality, better design, because there's a cam system instead of a knife edge. It holds tune like a champ, even when you lay into it. But of course, it never caught on because it's just too practical for guitar players. Now keep this in mind when you're recording your own guitar at home, what's going to be the better system to actually get great results with. Number 6, soldered wiring. I have to bring this up because, yeah, this actually happened. One of the worst guitars that ever came into the studio not only had a terrible setup, the electronics were held together with electrical tape. Now let me remind you of something basic. We are trying to get a signal from the guitar into the amp, or in this case, an amp sim. Why make that harder than it needs to be? But hey, let's be honest, guitar players are fantastic at making things difficult. See, the problem is electrons like solid connections. They don't like wobbling around in a nest of twisted wires and gooey tape. And that is exactly what I found. Every single connection was just twisted together and taped up. No solder, no stability, just pure high-effort stupidity. Yes, I facepalmed. Yes, my very good friend Steve, who helps with setups when I'm working with bands, also facepalmed. So I spent the next hour doing it properly. Soldered joints, clean connections, actual signal path. And then the next day, the guitar player comes in and plugs it and goes,
"Oh wow, that sounds so much better."
Weird, because I just so happened to be reading the daily yeah no fucking shit. And wouldn't you know it, the headline said the exact same fucking thing. So if your guitar has some questionable wiring, please do yourself a favor, think like an engineer and actually fix it before you hit record. Because your guitar tone doesn't just start with your amp sim, it starts with your cable and the wiring not falling apart in the middle of your once-in-a-lifetime take. Now, if you actually want to stop making these mistakes and finally learn to think like an engineer, grab yourself a copy of the Home Studio Cheat Code. I brought the sale back by popular demand at 69% off, but it ends Saturday night, and this is the last time you are ever going to see this deal. You're going to get my NAMM amp captures, my IR library, 2 full mixing courses built around free plugins, and 4 live coaching calls where I show you exactly how to fix your mix. Check this out. I did this with nothing but free plugins. Stop struggling, stop guessing. Start thinking like an engineer. Number 7, bad intonation. Now this ties in directly with the guitar that had the taped together wiring, and just to make the session even more fun, it had the worst intonation imaginable. Intonation, that's where you set the length of the string so it plays the same note open and at the 12th fret. And it's something you're supposed to check after every string change. You do that, right? Regardless, this is an easy test with a clip-on tuner, and it's something you should absolutely do before you hit record. It makes your chords sound better as you go up and down the neck. And for the record, why did we even bother tracking that piece of shit guitar with the terrible wiring and the intonation that was obviously set by a complete moron? Because the guitar player pouted,
I'm playing this guitar, I'm not playing anything.
yeah, so much for being easy to work with. Moral of the story, please set up your intonation. Don't be that guy. Number 8. Proper levels. Why the hell does this have to be difficult? Plug your guitar into the guitar input on your interface. Set your levels so it doesn't go into the red. That's it! No, really, that's all you have to do. And yet, guitar players love to fuck this up. Interface manufacturers even made it stupidly easy by adding auto gain functions. You'll find it on the Audient Evo, the Lewitt Connect 2, and the Focusrite Scarlett 4th Gen series. But no, instead of using that, we got hit with a whole new wave of ultra stupidity last year. Some dumb motherfucker online declared that you should record your guitar at negative 18 dBFS because amp sims sound better at weak input levels. And this was based on a spectacular misunderstanding of how analog plugin calibration works. Negative 18 dBFS is where the mix plugins model analog gear, not where your guitar DI is supposed to live. Amp sims want a proper instrument level signal, not the sonic equivalent of a mouse whispering into a paper bag. And of course, once this nonsense hit the internet, the herd mentality kicked in like clockwork, because if there's one thing guitar players excel at, besides buying pedals that they don't need, it's blindly accepting whatever bullshit they read online without 5 seconds of critical thought. One guy on Reddit makes a claim, provides zero evidence, zero testing, zero engineering rationale, and suddenly 10,000 tone-chasing lemmings are stampeding off a cliff, proudly uploading tracks that look like an EKG readout from a fucking corpse. Bottom line, give an amp sim what an amp sim actually wants. A healthy signal with peaks somewhere around negative 6 dBFS. Anything quieter is just self-inflicting failure masquerading as technique. And the only thing that it improves is your ability to sound like every other clueless idiot in the comments section. Number 9, using the same impulse response as everyone else. A while back, I gave away a pair of impulse responses based on the new Made in UK Celestion Vintage 30s for free. And they're turning up everywhere, on records, YouTube videos, even live performances. Guitar players are loading them into their Quad Cortex rigs and apparently blowing local sound guys' minds. Yeah, I tracked them right here in the studio, mounted into my Engel cab, and ran through the trusty Neve. And yeah, they turned out really great. And honestly, it was my honor to give something back to the metal community. And it really makes me happy to hear how many players are finding them useful. But they're not the be-all, end-all. There is a multitude of great impulses out there. Yes, I'm talking to you, the guy still using the Catharsis impulses from the Andy Steep forum that were put up there about 20 years ago. Man, that really makes me feel old. My point is, don't be afraid to experiment. That's when the fun stuff really starts to happen. If you want a unique sound, you don't get it by dragging the same wave file into your signal chain that 10,000 other guys already used. Start trying some new IRs, or better yet, come check out what I built for the home studio cheat code, because there's some rarities in there that are really cool. Because if you want to stand out, you gotta stop blending in. Number 10, doing the same thing as everyone else. At this point, the whole 5150 Vintage 30 thing has been done more times than Jenna Jameson. This is not the path to finding your own thing, and it is absolutely nothing new. Guitar players are the ultimate lemmings. Copy anything remotely interesting until it's hammer smashed into mediocrity. Les Pauls and Marshalls, anyone? They were all over the place in the 80s. Kind of still are today too, aren't they? Look, don't be afraid to try something different and think outside the box. Take the Led Zeppelin song Black Dog, for example. Great track, killer riff, very memorable. Didn't even use a guitar amp. That was a direct signal, ran through two 1176 limiters in series. Let me say that again. No cab, no head, just two compressors eating a DI. Let's be crystal clear though. Turning off your impulse response on your high gain amp sim, that sounds horrible. The 1176 sounds harsh, but it's way more palatable than, here's my raw amp sound because I don't understand how any of this works. So yeah, don't be afraid to experiment, but learn the rules first and then break the rules. Because if you're just doing what every other guitar player is doing, you're not making a song, you're just carbon copying somebody else's idea. Number 11, scooping the mids. Okay, I'm gonna come out with a novel suggestion here, but guitar is a mid-range instrument. One more time, guitar is a mid-range instrument. If you scoop all the mids out of your tone, guess what? You're not going to hear it once you start playing with the other instruments. I know this is a wild concept for some guitar players, but there really are other instruments other than guitar in the band. And those instruments, they all have to fit together in a mix as a whole. Let's put it this way. If you dialed in a crushing guitar tone, but it somehow sounds weak as hell in a mix, that's because you made the same mistake I made for years. You dialed in your sound solo. So let me just say that one more time just to be extra special, super clear. Stop dialing in your guitar tone with nothing else playing. If you want your guitars to actually work in a mix, dial them in with the rest of the band playing. Bass, drums, vocals, the whole fucking thing. Otherwise, you're just EQing your ego, not your song. The single biggest mistake you can make when you're dialing in your rhythm tones is this: activating the solo button on your guitars. Because that sounds huge, right? And that's fine on its own, but it doesn't quite work in a mix because we've got no mid-range going on at all. It's just kind of thin. Now, if we do something where things are balanced a little bit better here, we can just dial this in with all the other instruments going and really get a great result quickly. And take a bit out. Now those guitars are filling up the mid-range and the mix is working together much better as a whole. The single biggest mistake you can make is dialing in your guitar sound without anything else going. If you really want to get great results quick, just make sure you got the bass and the drums going as well. That way you've got a clear picture of what's going on as a whole. Number 12, over-editing everything. Years ago, before YouTube, before MySpace, back when bands actually had their own websites and message boards and the fans actually showed up on them, I was working with a group and the main composer said something to me I will never forget. I want it perfect. And at the time, that seemed impossible. But now, thanks to modern recording technology, perfect has become the norm. And guess what? Perfect is boring. There's a metric fuck ton of perfectly boring metal records being churned out by the truckload these days. I remember going to a production conference a few years ago and they were demoing what you can do with Elastic Audio and Cubase. And they took this absolutely brilliant performance from a world-class guitar player and made it better. By which I mean they edited out every shred of humanity until it sounded like a fucking robot. I just wanted to scream at the stage, "What the fuck are you idiots doing? It's fine, leave it alone!" But I was a guest, so I behaved myself. But that's how I really felt. But now with AI music being improved by the nanosecond, there's going to be so much more boring, perfect metal. It's going to have its own gravity well. For the record, machines put out crap. Humans make art. So before you go editing the living fuck out of your guitar takes, before you quantize every note into oblivion, ask yourself one simple question. How the hell is this art? Because you just might wind up making some music by accident. Number 13, not thinking like an engineer. Guitar players are really great at crawling up their own asses and disconnecting from reality. I should know, I've been playing guitar for 40 years now. And judging by how many submissions I get on my Monday Mix Review show where the guitar completely dominates the mix and you don't hear anything but the guitar, it's not hard to figure out who actually did the mix. And no, it wasn't the bass player, he's still trying to learn how to tie his shoes. But look, I get it. You are awesome at your instrument and you want to show to the world how great you are. Problem is, being great on guitar isn't enough. Your guitar has to work in context with the band, and that means leaving space for the other instruments. And if you want it to sound heavy, guess what? That comes from the bass, not from scooping your mids and cranking your amp to the loudest thing ever. So maybe, and I know this is really hard, bring yourself down a dB or two and let's hear the rest of the band. It'll make a bigger impact, and your guitar will sound better, not worse. Mix like an engineer, not just a guitar player. And if you actually want to do that, grab your copy of the Home Studio Cheat Code on sale for Black Friday until Saturday night. It's 69% off, and you get everything you need to finally stop guessing and start getting real results. 2 full-length mixing courses built entirely on free plugins, my mix-ready amp captures, including the Morningwood, my exclusive IR library, and 4 live group coaching calls with me where I rip apart a mix and show you how to fix it. Now, this is the last time you're ever going to see this deal, so don't wait around, don't overthink it, and don't go back to making the same mistakes you've been stuck with for years. Stop dreaming about getting great mixes and start getting results. Join the home studio cheat code. Stop thinking like a guitar player and think like an engineer.